And for most people that have like a skill or a hobby or something that they love, there's some delineation you have to make between play and practice, learning.
Yep,
and
that's true.
I think when
That's
you
absolutely true.
have that ADHD, you're less prone to your brain isn't incentivizing you to practice anything. And I think part of that is because, like, if you ever, like, I don't know if you guys had the same experience, but I was like a gifted kid growing up, where it's like when I'm really young, I'm really smart and I pick things up really fast and I learn. And then I reach a point where that caps, and the thing that I pick up and try to do now requires more effort over time. I never learned how to study. I never learned how to practice something. I just learned how to pick something up and be good at it. And eventually that only gets you so far.
You're a classic case of a prodigy.
Yeah.
To which prodigies can then turn into like virtuosos or masters or experts if given that next step that you didn't take.
You have to get past that.
Right.
Because the problem is when you're young and you have like a high IQ or whatever it is that's allowing you to do that.
Things can come easy to you.
Things come easy to you, and then people tell you, wow, look how smart you are. And so you learn, your brain learns, I am good because I'm naturally good at things, not because I practice. And you never learn to practice. You never learn that has any sort of reward. And then as soon as you pick something up and you're not immediately good at it, your brain says, well, we're usually good at stuff. Now we're not. And now I feel
shut down.
Yeah. And now I don't want to touch this thing.
Even if it's the same thing you were good at.
Could be, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I think I carried a lot of that from my childhood into my teenage years. I struggled with school a lot. I did a lot of things, but I rode my ability to learn things quickly for too long, for too many things, and didn't utilize the practice. I remember you telling me stories of you being in tears because you were going over scales and modes and things, and you wanted to get it right. I never had that experience.
Right.
You know, because it wasn't instilled in me.
Right, yeah.
And so I as an adult had to reinstill the practice into my life in order for me to progress. So that's where ADHD
Mine
is.
was also
real shit right there, man.
Mine was also a unique situation in where not everybody has like a Joe Jackson-esque
I was about to say, you were crying?
Yeah.
Joe Jackson.
No, I wasn't crying because of that reason. I was crying because he was pushing me to a limit that I didn't think that I had. And then I would try to exceed what I thought would be like. I try to exceed his expectations and would push myself. What I learned about when you're learning something like Michael Jordan level, if you really want to dive into it on a masterful scale, you push yourself to brinks where it is so mentally like draining, challenging. It just really like, it's like breaking yourself down and picking yourself back up again. And I experienced that when I was learning how to play the piano. And what I learned from that is that people that have focus and people that have the ability to see things through are different animals to me, because it takes a lot to commit yourself to something and then say, no matter what happens, whether it's raining or it's sunny outside or the world is ending, I'm going to still commit myself to this one thing that I said I would do. And even when I reach a certain point, I want to reach it's like Goku shit, right? And it's like when you reach that level and you want to get past to the next level, then you get to the point where it's like, okay, bro is just like that's where you get to the Kobe Bryants. That's when you get to those type of people that you think about where it's like they have a certain mentality that they're so good and they could have stopped, but they just never stop. I'm not saying that to me by any means, but I know I've reached certain levels in that where it's like you got to be crazy to be like those type of peoples. Yeah. Those people are like, I commend those people because being in that space where it's like, yo, I know how that feels. So absolutely, I think there's like, but also just to take it to another point, I feel like everybody has their own way of doing things and learning things, and that's okay. Like if you don't want to go to that route, but you are naturally gifted and naturally talented. And if you want to stay right here, there's no reason why you need to have a Joe Jackson-esque person in your life to say, keep going, go to the next level. Like, if you don't want to, you could just stay right where you are, and just, if you're happy with it, then that's cool.
Well, because, like, imagine if instead of the Joe Jackson parent, you had the Rick Rubin parent. Like, the almost philosophical opposite.
Right.
You're achieving similar things through different means of human cultivation.
As you sit like Rick Rubin.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
in the proper Rick Rubin stance, he tells us this.
Yes.
I love it.
You used to call me young Rick Rubin or something.
That's my point. You've always reminded me of like a young Rick Rubin, basically, where it's not just about like you tap into the feeling, you tap into the philosophy of it, right? The psychology, and you can take a step back from it and analyze what you just did and assess what you can do to make it better or different, right? And not a lot of people can possess that either. Like, dude, what I learned about music and creativity is that there's like, if music and creativity is a circle, there's like a million different perspectives you can have of that circle. And everybody needs other people because they have a different perspective that they can bring to the table. And that's why collaboration, like in bands, and you can speak on this, I can speak on this, collaboration in bands is so interesting because you can see how you can either clash with people, maybe you have the same perspective, or it's harmonious because, we have different perspectives and we value that, and creatively we can prosper if you can kind of visualize it.
A couple of cool points from what you guys both said. I feel like, being naturally gifted at something, like we all know, gets you so far. And then you're amongst, depending on like what now your standard of good music or whatever your talented is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're like good at making music to make your family go like, oh my God, he's such a talent. But now you're also listening to music and you're like, well, I want to be that good, right? So then it's like, I feel like a lot of times that will drive you to like maybe force yourself if you don't want to be, pushing hard or working hard.
Does that happen for everybody? Or just,
okay. It's all good.
All right.
They don't know. We know, but they don't know.
Right.
But like a lot of times your environment is gonna like just at least plant the seed to want to do more.
I see what you're saying.
And I think that like it's in those moments where. Again, it's if you, like you said, if you push yourself into that environment where, like, if I'm making music for myself, I may not need to compare myself, but like, when you are amongst, like, if you are in a band and like, or I liken it to sports where, like, if I'm a all-state guy, right, in high school, when I get to college, I'm probably playing, amongst other all-state guys. You know what I'm saying? So like now we're all the natural prodigy. So now it's like, okay.
There's levels to it, yeah.
Yeah.
So comparison and self-deprecation is a really good way to improve your skill. Yeah. It's a really bad way to make art, in my opinion. You can take you want inspiration and you want people to like lift you up. But in terms of, what you should never do is compare yourself or your art, because it should never be like anybody else's. It should be from the perspective of you. It's what makes your art
biggest
unique.
Lesson I've learned as an artist.
Yeah.
Like that's the only, like, sports and music has always been so synonymous, but that's the only big difference I would say is like those are not alike in that sense.
Okay.
Where sports is competitive. Sports is nothing but competition. And I think when it gets to art, it, like he said, it gets dangerous when you are comparing yourself.
I feel you, and I can relate because I'm not an artist in the same sense. Even though I did play an instrument in high school, it was
you are an artist.
I am. I'm gonna get to it, but I actually played an instrument in high school.
Okay.
It was called the wrist knuckle pencil. So I'd be beating, the wrist knuckle pencil. I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? You got it. But no, I mean, even in the photography world, in the videography world, I know what you guys mean, because when I was comparing myself to like the Peter McKinnons and the and there's some people in Detroit in the metro area that are like phenomenal.
Yeah.
That don't get enough love for what they do, but there was an aspect where I compared too much, where I was like, I want that photo, I want my photos to look like that, and no one ever. It's kind of funny. People may not know, but if I was trying to, like, shoot a shot that I was, like, thinking of, that didn't get the feedback. But it was not until I did a raw shot, which is me, you know what I'm saying, did I get people to be like, bro, this is why I like you. But I will say this though, in a small dosage, I did need to know what was out there to raise my bar, because I was at times I was kind of complacent with like, oh, this is okay, and then I'm seeing some guy like not like in a way like this. I might tell myself like, this is the best I could do with this shoot. Then I see somebody else have have less resources at their disposal and come up with a better shot. So it wasn't so much me saying I need to be like them, but it was like, okay, I can probably push myself creatively a little bit further. But I know also to be aware of not trying to be like them, but just know that like you can use that to kind of.
Yeah, you're drawing from inspiration rather than comparing.
Yeah,
you said, raising the bar.
Yeah,
like you were uplifting yourself through the inspiration.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, you weren't confined by the inspiration.
Perfect way to put it.
You weren't emulating it.
Yeah.
It's a fine line. I think it really just comes down to intent. Your intention with how you are perceiving other artists. And a lot of it, you know, you can get envious, you can get jealous. There's a lot of negative emotions you can experience as an artist, and all of it comes from your own self-comparison, your own self-hate. And the more you can let go of that as an artist, the more you can thrive as an artist.
Damn. You're watching the Amor Fati show with Mavi and Raw. And look, we really appreciate y'all tapping into our podcast and sharing all of our videos. But if you love our content and enjoy the conversations that we have with all of our guests, it might behoove you to hit that like and subscribe button below. I mean, it really helps out our channel a lot, and we'd really appreciate it, honestly. Don't you agree, Raw?
Man, you ain't never lied. I mean, it's giving loyalty.
Facts.
And look, underneath this video, there's a notification icon. And when you smash it, you get loaded with everything we drop. And, I mean, we always dropping.
Man, we be dropping heat.
So listen, we appreciate you guys. And as always, the secret to living is giving. So give us some love, baby.
Period. Full stop.